Hello. Today I will be presenting the findings from the 2017 paper titled, "It Doesn't Hurt to Ask. Question Asking Increases Liking," published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology by Karen Huang and colleagues at Harvard University. This research investigates the role of question asking in interpersonal attraction and conversation. When people meet for the first time, they have two main goals: to exchange information and to manage the impression they make. A common instinct is to engage in self-promotion, talking about oneself to appear competent or interesting. In fact, research shows people spend the majority of conversation time discussing their own experiences. However, the authors posit that this is a mistake. Self-focus often decreases liking. Instead, they propose that focusing on the other person through question asking is a superior strategy. Why does asking questions work? The paper proposes a theoretical model based on responsiveness. Responsiveness involves three components: understanding, validation, and care. When you ask a question, you are soliciting information which allows you to understand the partner. By listening, you validate their perspective. And by showing curiosity, you signal care. The authors hypothesize that question asking leads to higher perceived responsiveness, which in turn leads to increased interpersonal liking. To test this, Study 1 involved 430 participants in 215 dyads chatting online. One partner in each pair was randomly assigned to ask either, at most 4 questions, low condition, or at least 9 questions, high condition. The results were clear. Partners of high question askers liked them significantly more than partners of low question askers. This confirmed the primary hypothesis. Study 2 replicated this finding, but added a crucial twist. They asked third-party observers to read the transcripts of these conversations. While the conversation partners liked the question askers, the observers actually preferred the question answerers. This suggests that the benefit of asking questions is deeply personal. It works because the recipient feels listened to, responsiveness. It is not an inherent trait that looks good to outsiders. It is about the dyadic connection. The researchers also analyzed the types of questions asked. They distinguished between full-switch questions, changing the topic, and follow-up questions, elaborating on the partner's statement. They found that the positive effect on liking was driven almost entirely by follow-up questions. These are the questions that truly signal responsiveness and active listening. Moving out of the lab, Study 3 analyzed 110 speed daters across nearly 2,000 dates. Using a natural language processing algorithm to detect follow-up questions in the audio transcripts, they looked at a behavioral outcome: asking for a second date. The data showed that people who asked a higher rate of follow-up questions were significantly more successful in getting second dates. Finally, the paper addresses a metacognitive failure. Across the studies, participants were asked to predict how much their partner would like them. The results showed a persistent prediction error. Participants did not anticipate that asking more questions would increase their likability. People are largely unaware of the social benefits of this behavior. In conclusion, Huang et al. Demonstrate that question asking is a robust predictor of liking. It works by signaling responsiveness, specifically through follow-up questions. While we often default to talking about ourselves to make a good impression, the data suggests we should do the opposite: ask more questions. It really doesn't hurt to ask. Finally, I would like to offer 3 practical tips for your daily life, based on my interpretation of this study's findings. First, master the follow-up. In conversation, we often spend the time while the other person is talking just planning what we are going to say next, usually a new topic about ourselves. Instead, challenge yourself to ask at least one follow-up question before changing the subject. Ask why, or tell me more about that. As the data showed, this is the single strongest driver of liking. Second, deflect the spotlight. We have a natural instinct to self-promote to make a good impression. But the study shows this backfires. When you feel the urge to brag or tell a long story, pause. Flip the spotlight back to them. Paradoxically, letting them talk makes you appear more competent and likable. Third, overcome the fear. The study revealed a massive prediction error. We are afraid to ask questions because we think we might be annoying or intrusive. The data proves the opposite. People love being asked about themselves. Assume they will enjoy the attention and ask away. Thank you for watching.